All right, everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining us today for the Leveraging Google Drive to Benefit Your Business webinar. If at any point during the presentation, if you have a question, if you can go ahead and put your question in the chat, someone will be monitoring the chat for questions. A lot of times your question may be answered a little bit further on. But if it's something pertinent, we'll try to address it right then and there. But please go ahead and use that chat feature to ask any questions during the presentation. Also, as you saw, we're recording this presentation, so we will distribute both the slide deck and the recording to this webinar for you to reference as well. I think it's 11:02, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for taking the time to join us today. This is the Google Drive to Benefit Your Business webinar. Right. I have to read this disclaimer, so just bear with me. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the Cal Poly Humboldt-sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. All right, thank you for bearing through that. A little bit about me. My name is Bryan Rheem. I'm an SBDC advisor. I've been working in the public and private sector for over 24 years now. I really enjoy how IT has grown, and my focus areas are primarily in IT development, transformation, and modernization. So I really think it's important for businesses, and especially small businesses, to understand the IT landscape and take advantage of tools that exist that really create a more efficient and effective business. And so that's what this is about, how to use Google Drive to really maximize what you do as a business. All right, so our agenda for today, I'm going to introduce the SBDC. I'm going to kind of give a quick intro to Google Drive. We'll talk about how it benefits you and your business. We'll go through, some demonstrations. We're going to do a pricing plan check to talk about the cost, and then go through our conclusion, and then wrap up with how you can continue to keep in touch with the SBDC and how we can be of assistance to you. All right, so I'll first just quickly intro the SBDC. So who are we? We are a nonprofit organization. We're located we service the Shasta, Trinity counties, but there is always a SBDC office near you. I don't say always, but most of the time there is one very close to you. We provide confidential, no-cost advisory and training services to small businesses. And even if you're not in our demographic or jurisdiction, we can point you to the SBDC office closest to you. We are powered by the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration. For us in the Shasta-Cascade office, there are 36 counties, the NorCal SBDC region, and that's what our office is a part of, the NorCal SBDC region. In 2021, we were able to increase sales for our clients. You can look at that number right there. That's a considerable number, as well as get capital infusion, loans, grants, or equity investments during 2021. So we're specifically proud of those numbers because, as you know, during just the tail end of COVID, who suffered the most? Small businesses. So we really focused on trying to help small businesses pivot and continue to thrive. We provide one-on-one consulting We have webinars and training. And at the end of this presentation, I'll point you to our social media sites where a lot of our webinars are stored. We help with funding assistance. And again, we're in partnership with the SBA. All right, so let's jump into the actual topic of today, Google Drive. What is it and how do I get started? What is Google Drive? Well, Google Drive is a cloud-based file hosting service. So if you don't know what cloud-based means, it means it's somewhere off in the internet land. We don't know where, we don't know how, and it doesn't matter. Google, it's somewhere in Google land, right? So it's not stored locally, it's not on your computer, it's not on something that's in your business, it's not on something that you have access to physically. It's the cloud. And this has become more and more common, this term, with Apple and Android phones. You know, you store things up in the cloud. It's some magical, mythical place where things get uploaded to and you have access to them. And that's what Google Drive is. It allows storage and synchronization. So storage is obviously allows you to hold files there. And synchronization allows you to have multiple devices, and that file is accessible from all of those devices. And that's really one of the biggest benefits of Google Drive is you can upload a file from one device somewhere, and on another device, whether it's your phone or iPad or tablet, you can access that same file. And it's not just Google files, it's really any file. It's more than just documents. It can be videos, it can be photographs, any type of file that you could store traditionally on your phone or personal computer, you can store on Google Drive as well. And all you really need is a web browser. You can access it from any web browser and from any device. So it's really something that is not specific to an operating system or a browser, and specific to any type of file. A little bit of history, it was launched in April 2012. So it's been around for quite a bit now. And you know it's doing well because it has over 1 billion active users and trillions of files. So it quickly has become one of the primary ways people on a personal level and businesses manage their files. It can run, like I said, on laptops, personal devices, phones, any web browser. You can access it through a web browser or through the dedicated app that's installed on your PC or your phone. One of the biggest draws is that 15 gigabytes is completely free. That's right when you sign up for a Gmail account, you automatically get a Drive account, and that comes with 15 gigabytes of storage. And so just kind of on average, what does that mean? That's over 30,000 documents and 3,000 photos if they're saved at a high resolution. How do you get started? Like I mentioned, all you need is a Google account. So if you have a Gmail account, which is a free for personal, you automatically have access to that 15 gigabytes of free Google Drive space. And each Google account has its own Drive account. So if for some reason you have 5 Google accounts, or Gmail accounts, I should say, or Google accounts, each of them come with their own Drive account. If your business uses G Suite, which is kind of Google's implementation for businesses, they obviously also come with their own Drive account as well. So you need a Google account, and obviously you need a way to access Google Drive. Again, you can download the app on your phone or your personal device, or you can access it via any web browser. And you need, unless you've synced to store locally, which I'll talk about in a minute, you would need access to the internet, and then just type in that URL, drive.google.com. And so it's really easy. It's really easy to get started. As soon as you have a Gmail account, you type in that address, drive.google.com on a web browser, and boom, there you are. You'll be in Google Drive. So what are the benefits? Why would you want to utilize Google Drive? Some of the features, multiple entry points. So you can, like I said, not only access it from multiple devices, but even on your device, you can access it through the browser or the app. You don't have to say, oh, I need to access that document. I have to wait till I get on my laptop. No, you are on your phone and you have a connection to the internet. That's all you need. And so that becomes really handy, especially for small business owners that are constantly working. And so you're on the go, you're out of the office, something changed, or a document needs to get uploaded or reviewed. You can actually just do that on your personal device. And it becomes a really efficient way to manage your work, even when you're out of contact with a physical machine. And again, you can access it wherever the internet exists. So as long as you have some way to getting on the internet and access to the internet, again, work is no longer limited to just one location. Now, maybe that's a bad thing. Now you really you don't have an excuse, but you can access your work now wherever you're located geographically and time of day. You can download the files locally. So I know a lot of people like to do this. They store the files on Google Drive to share with teammates, but then they also can download that file locally. For instance, if they know they're going to be in a location that doesn't have internet connectivity, etc., you can actually download them to your device and work on them and then upload them once you're done. For the free plan, you can share your access with up to 100 people. And you can have specific rights for that file that you share for each of those 100 people. So, for a small business, this is perfect. And if you share files or need to have files circulating among your organization, you can do that. And then for each person, you can specify their right for that specific document. And the most common three, someone can be view only, someone can just make comments, or someone can actually edit that document or that file. And then, and I'll demonstrate this once we go into the demonstration portion, you can have different quick access views. So Google Drive automatically allows you to see all of your files, or you can just see ones that you've starred or the recent files that you've been working on. A lot of different views to kind of facilitate how you might want to access the files that you have. One of the biggest benefits and features is the search capability. Like, it's Google, right? What do we all know Google for? First and foremost, it's that search capability, right? Google it. That's become a term. Hey, just Google that. And it's not just the title of your document, it's the contents. So you can search for keywords you might not remember. Where did I store that? What did I call that? Well, you don't need to anymore. If you remember a word or a phrase that you used in the content of your document or something related to that file, Google will be able to find it. And it utilizes something that's amazing to me. It's natural language search. And so it uses a technology where it's not just keywords anymore. You can say something like, find my budget from last year. And the search algorithm is smart enough to know what years this year, what was last year, and things that are related or relatable to budgets, spreadsheets, numbers, things like that. You can back up the Google Drive. So you can back up specific folders or your complete all of your Google Drive to your local machine or to an external hard drive. And that's something I highly recommend. And then document creation and editing. So you have access to Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms. All of those types of documents are available once you have access to Google Drive. And finally, you can upload files up to 5 terabytes. Now, obviously, if you have the free If you have the free account, you're limited to the 15 gigabytes. But as you increase your capacity or upgrade your membership to some of the higher tiers, I mean, that's a pretty sizable document. So it becomes very handy for people that are dealing with large files like media, movies. As you can see, that translates to almost a 2,000 hour long movie, right? Doesn't exist, but if it did, hey, you could upload it to Google Drive. So specifically,
we have a question that
sure.
may or may not fit in here. It's is there an easy way of combining Google Drives from multiple Google Drives connected to different accounts?
We will cover that, but you would just need to share those documents among files. But there is a way when you remove account for you to choose to transfer those documents to another owner. That is in the business suite. If you don't have the business tier, then you would just have to download and upload those files to that new document. So they don't have a merge capability. That's because they like to keep each Google account unique and distinct. So again, the only two ways is one, if you have G Suite, when you delete an email account, it allows you to transfer not only just Google Drive files, but emails, all of that stuff to a new owner. So you could do it that way. If you have just the free accounts, you would need to download and re-upload to the one singular account. So the benefits to you and your business. For me, the biggest one is, hey, you're a small business and now you have a partner, right? And who's that partner? That partner is Google. Who could ask for a better partner than Google, right? A solid company with impeccable reputation and a ton of money, and that becomes your partner, and you get to leverage all the power of Google for your small business. So to me, that's one of the biggest benefits. It allows real-time collaboration with your team, and not only within your organization, the people outside your organization. For instance, if you need to share documents or files with people, clients or contractors or other people who are not in your organization, you can still share that document with them and give them the appropriate access all the way to editor. And it just allows it to happen instantaneously. And I'll demonstrate that. But now, again, people can work remote. I think what COVID showed us was that, hey, we need to work remotely. The companies that were able to leverage something like Google Drive, they had no issues because files were still shared and collaborated on. Like I said, you have Google, so worry-free storage and backup capability. If Google goes down, you probably have a bigger problem than your small business, right? Something else might be happening. They have backups upon backups upon backups. And so again, that allows us to kind of trust Google's infrastructure with our files. And then you can create files, you can share files, you can set security for all of those files. And the thing that I like is you can use Google Forms. Google Forms is a way that you can create surveys and distribute them among your employees or clients, or a way to capture information for registrations or signups. And all that information is aggregated into a Google Sheet for you. It allows you to organize your documents and files. So a lot of organizations that were paper-based are now moving to be electronic-based. So, they are scanning documents and putting them on Google Drive, or instead of having them locally, they're just uploading them all to the Google Drive, and they're allowing to create a singular organization structure. So instead of a company with 5 employees, each doing their own thing and wondering where things are stored, now the organization gets to set the layout and the organization for all of their files, and it becomes common for that organization. Again, you can secure your files and folders on a case-by-case basis, even with people outside your organization, and it allows version control of every document. And I really like this. Every change that happens into a document, you can see not only who made that change, but what that change was. And you have the ability to roll back to a previous version. So someone messed up or someone made something wrong. You can choose a specific version and say, okay, this is now the current version that we're going to use. So all that is available in the free version, which is pretty amazing. Really, as we get into some of the pricing tier, all that changes is, the size, the amount of storage that you have. What's the caveat? What's not a benefit? To me, really, it's the privacy policy. Once you put something on Google Drive, Google has the full right to reproduce any derivative work from the content that's stored on Google Drive. So what does this mean for your business? Do not put intellectual property that is very important to the success of your business on Google Drive. That should be, discussed with a patent lawyer how to best secure that information. Do not put your secret recipe to marinara sauce that's been passed down for 10 generations on Google Drive. Do not, just put things that are extremely private that you don't want reproduced through derivative work. Now, do I think Google is going through your files and scanning and algorithm? Probably not. They probably have better things to do. But who knows? Just the fact that that's the privacy policy that you agree to once you start utilizing Google Drive. All right, so here I'm going to break. I'm going to bring up here we go. So this is Google Drive. This is in Chrome, and this is my daughter's Google Drive account that she doesn't have anything on, so I'm using it. But as you can see, if she were to have folders, you can create folders and file structures under this Google Drive. So you can, just like you would on your PC, you can create kind of an organization tree like here. You can create a new folder. And then, you can store files in that new folder, et cetera, and et cetera. You can also manage the computers that actually have access or synced to your Google Drive. So both for, I know for Mac and for PC, you can install and download the Google Drive app for your laptop computer, and then you can sync with your Google Drive account. You can share files. So any files that have been shared with me, I can see here, and then you can filter by most recent files, something that you worked on. I'm going to tell you today, it'll tell you earlier this week, it'll tell you last month. And then, if I've starred certain things that are important to me, let's say I want to star this. And now it shows up in my starred files. So starred is kind of like important things that you're working on that you don't want to lose track of. Recent is pretty much all that I use, because if I was working on something, it was probably recently. But search is the most powerful way. So even if you are intimidated by creating a file structure within Google Drive, you don't really have to spend time doing that because the search is pretty powerful, and it allows you to find, things, like I said, not only in the title, but things in the content as well. So how does this actually work? So I have two tabs open. One is my account, and one is my daughter's account. And so what I can do is, when I right click, I can share. Or I can do multiple things. I can show where it is. Let's say you have a very complex file structure and you found it in your search and you want to see, hey, what folder did I put that in? You can add a shortcut. It's kind of like a shortcut on your desktop. You can move it around to a different file. You can download it locally. Obviously, you can remove it. But here I'm going to go through the share file feature. So when I click to share this file, what comes up is a cute little tooltip that Google is really good about that. But I can choose to share it with, oh, there I am right there. And like I discussed before, I can say, what is my access to, what am I going to let this person have access to? Are they going to be an editor, commenter, or viewer? So I'm just going to make myself an editor. And then you can send them an email note. This will actually send them an email, say, hey, someone has shared a file with you. And now that file is shared. And I can verify that by clicking on that same shared. And now I can see I've added Bryan Rheem as an editor to this. You can also have some other access, like if you were to copy that link, you could say anyone with the link could open it, or it's only restricted to who I say that can have access to it. So now this is my account, and if I go look at the files that are shared with me, here it is, this document, right? This is a document that I just shared as my daughter with me, and I can open that up. And I can make changes to that document once it's finished loading. Sorry, my internet's slow right now. And you can see last edit was seconds ago. And so you can tell when it was saved and when it wasn't. So I just made that change. And now I'm back in my daughter's account. And now when I bring up this document, it'll show me the most recent document. And so this is the power really of being able to collaborate with the team, being able to share a document, being able to synchronize files, being able to see kind of what people are working on, who made those changes, and you can kind of see right here, see the changes since you last viewed the document. So, I mean, all that is available not just to a document or a spreadsheet, it's really available to any type of file, any type that you load up. And here you can see your storage. So plenty of storage. I've used 1 kilobyte. Obviously, documents take up less space than, like I said, movies or pictures or anything like that. So I'm going to stop that, bring up my presentation again. So pricing plans, like I said, 15 gigabytes is completely free. If you want to upgrade 15 gigabytes to something else, Google has something new called Google One. And that is how they manage their pricing plan. If you want to jump from 15, the next available tier is 100 gigabytes. And that is only for $2 a month or $19.99, $20 a year. You can add 5 people to share that 100 gigabyte with, and you have access to Google experts. If you want to jump up more than that, the next tier is 200. You can see the pricing there for $1 more a month or $9 or $10 more a year. And then you start getting some price benefits if you want to make Google Store purchases, and same benefits as the 100 gigabyte. And then the largest tier you can have within Google One is 2 terabytes, which is a lot of space. That's $10 a month or $100 a year, and then you get 10% back in Google Store purchases. If you want to do Google Business Standard, which is the G Suite, that is 2 terabytes per user for $12 a month. And then you have centralized administration, managing your users, managing your Google Drive, and then you have 24/7 online support. So a lot of businesses now are migrating to G Suite workspace, just because it's a very affordable way to give everyone in your business an email account and Google Drive access. Some of the resources, you'll have access to these once we are done and you have the slide deck. But this YouTube channel for Google Help is really, really helpful, not just for Google Drive, but for all things Google. Has a wealth of materials on there, and that you can kind of watch and observe. They demonstrate things. Getting started, the Google support is vast and very, very, very meticulous. So this is kind of the portal that launches you into their support page, again, for everything Google. But here, this link is specific to Google Drive and all the things you can and how you can really leverage it for your personal or business use. And then there are some frequently asked questions, FAQ, listed here are the most common types of questions about what you can and cannot do. So they're constantly upgrading, they're constantly making it better and better. So I wouldn't be surprised, Sharon, if they came up with a way to merge accounts. The last time I really dove deep into that was several months ago. But like, I'll come back and they'll upgrade. And so they have, as part of the support group that they have, they receive feedback, and people are constantly asking for this feature and that feature, and they actually roll them out on a regular basis. So a feature like that, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something someone else has asked, or if something they're working on, or as of today, if it exists. And that's, again, the other benefit of Google Drive, or just leveraging Google, is because they're an organization that stays really on the cutting edge, but they're safe, they're secure, they have a very, very good foundation. So I just wanted to end with kind of how the SBDC can help you. Again, what do we focus on? We focus on, if you need a registration or certification, we can help you with that process. Different applications to loan process or certification processes. Obviously, we can give advising for a myriad of topics, from business plan to marketing to social media to, again, financial questions to how do I get capital infusion. We provide regular training. We do have an in-person training possibility, but obviously you're experiencing our online training, which we have webinars on a regular basis. We are very much in lockstep with the WBC, the Women Business Centers, and we also provide language translation services. So that is the conclusion. Are there any specific questions that anyone has that I haven't covered?
I don't have any questions, but allow me to, while people are thinking of questions or writing them, I just put a link in the chat for a survey, because Bryan talked about feedback. We'd like feedback as well. If you get a chance, please click on that link. Tell us what's good about what we're doing, what's bad, and if you have any ideas for any kind of webinars you would like to see, or any trainings you'd like to see in the future, we'd appreciate it if you'd take the opportunity and fill that out for us. It looks like we have a question. Can you see the question there, Bryan?
Yes,
or do you want me to read it?
I can see it. Let me see. The question is, I know it's not tech support. You have paid Google Drive. My computer makes it difficult to access Google Drive easily. I'm Outlook typing an email, try to attach a file from Google Drive. It's very hard to find. So the Google setup is meant to be computer and browser agnostic, meaning it doesn't matter. It doesn't work better than one or the other. However, in order to link, so when you're in Outlook, whether you're web-based or app-based, the files that you link have to be local on your machine, or you have to link an actual, this is going to sound confusing, but it's not, you have to attach a link. You have to link a link. So just like I showed how you can create a link when you share, you can copy the link. You can also include that link in your email, because you can't attach a file from the cloud. You can only attach a file from your local machine. So one of two solutions: you download that file from Google Drive to your local computer, and then you attach that local file in your Outlook email. Or especially if you want to collaborate with this person, you give this person access to that file, you copy the link, and then you include that link in your email. So I hope that makes sense. Good, it does. Quickly, if you can see on this last slide, this is our contact information. Again, if you're not in the Shasta-Cascade region, you're not in Chester or Trinity County, it doesn't matter. You can still reach out to us, and we can find out what SBDC office is local to you, or you could go to that link, America's SBDC, find your SBDC. I highly recommend follow us on social media, even if we're not your local office. We are constantly uploading content, providing ways, webinars, or quick tips and tricks that you can find very, very beneficial, especially our YouTube channel that has a lot of the previous webinars on there, where you can kind of find really good information about a myriad of different topics. All right, I'll give one more opportunity. Any other questions? Okay, great. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us on this webinar. I hope this has been helpful, and feel free to go ahead and reach out to us if you have any questions regarding the content in this webinar. I'd be happy to follow up and help you with a specific question you may encounter. Again, have a great day and take care, everybody.